Welcome to Within the Madness, the women's edition, March 24th. As always, we got Cardell Dudley Jr., Raymond Lyons, Wilson Tarpe Jr. We got a lot to get to. There's more teams cash their tickets rather, to go to the Sweet 16. We had two games that literally just finished, so we're going to get to those in just a minute. Um, Jordan Nixon just hit a buzzer beater. Texas A&M stays alive. They beat Iowa State in overtime. So shout out to them. Then literally right before that, we had 3-seed Arizona. They kind of found their footing in a tough game with BYU. During the fourth quarter, 15-9. Aaron McDonald finished with 17 points, 4 steals, and 11 rebounds to lead Arizona. So again, just wanted to let you guys know, keep you guys updated on what literally just happened. The late game of tonight is going to be UCLA, Texas. That's 3-seed UCLA taking on 6-seed Texas. The winner of that game will advance to take on Maryland in the Sweet 16. We're going to get to Maryland a little bit later. And then last night's games, in the Riverwalk region, we had UConn and Syracuse. We had two 1-8 matchups. In the Riverwalk region, it was UConn and Syracuse. In the Alamo region, it was Stanford, Oklahoma State. Stanford, they beat Oklahoma State 73-62. Cameron Brink, she had 12 points and 9 rebounds. Natasha Mack had 13 and 10 boards for Oklahoma State. For UConn, 23-9 in the third quarter, kind of take control of the game. And Aaliyah Edwards led them with 19 points, 5 rebounds, and 4 assists. I said, we're going to get started today. All right, Missouri State, 5-12 matchup here. Missouri State, they did what they needed to do, especially on the defensive end. Second and third quarters, they held their opponents to a combined 16 points. We've been talking defense, how important it is throughout this tournament every day we've got on here on both the men's and women's side. And what we've seen on the women's side is the teams that understand how to literally lock folks down. They've been advancing consistently. It was a 64-39 victory for them. Ellie Ruffridge led the way with 20 points and 2 rebounds. Know if you guys had anything you wanted to add to that?
No, man, it was a blowout.
Hands were laid.
Hands were laid. Hey, look, some things there's no need to add to. All right, here we go. This one's a little tough. Oregon, 6-seed Oregon, they took down the 3-seeded Georgia Bulldogs, 57-50. Jen Stady had a good game for Georgia, but Oregon's post duo of Sedona Prince, 22 points, 5 rebounds, and Nayara Sabali, that last name should sound kind of familiar. She had 15 points and 9 rebounds, and they went to work for Oregon. They made their move in the third period to create separation and held serve from that point on. So I just want to get you guys' take on what Oregon did to kind of take down Georgia.
Well, they locked up the perimeter. As simple as that, man. It's a thing. We all know in the tournament guard play, that's the difference. If you got elite guard play, you can go far. Even if you might not have the quality of bigs that another team have, they control the game. They control the pace of the game. And Oregon's guard just completely took, Georgia guards completely out of the game, man. And then they dominated them on the inside. It's really simple. It's not really much you could really say as far as like it was some great strategy or just a difference in talent, whatever, because it was still a close game. And that's the only reason why it was a close game is because Stady, she showed up and she kind of matched what Prince was doing. She tried to cancel her out, and then Georgia got a little bit better production off their bench than Oregon did. But Oregon's starting five, with the way they erased Georgia's perimeter game, it put so much pressure on their bigs, on Georgia's bigs to have to perform. They can't perform at that level, not who they were matched up against from Oregon. It's Sabali and Prince. So they had the edge, and that's how they won.
Yeah, man. It's like Oregon, they held it down defensively, and it was it was a brawl, man. Like only 4 players from Oregon scored, so they definitely had to tough this one out. But I mean, Cardell brought up the perimeter defense. They held Georgia to 35% from the field, 1 for 13 from 3. Like it's hard to win if you can't put the ball in the basket, man. And I think Oregon they playing with a little extra motivation. Seeing as how their season was taken from them last year when they had a good shot to kind of go all the way, and then with the talent that left last year with Satu, Ruthie Hebert, and Sabrina.
Mm-hmm.
That's tough.
Yeah.
That was a special group, man. They didn't even get a chance to maximize their potential. So I'm sure they want to want to just go as far as they can, man, just to try to get some of that back. But so it was a gusty win for them, and going to see what they can do the next round.
You're muted, sir.
I'm good for at least one of those every two shows. In the Mercado region, another Big Ten team is headed to the Sweet 16. Indiana beat 12 seeded Belmont 70-48. Grace Berger had her way inside, 17 points, 6 rebounds. The Hoosiers held Belmont to 31% shooting from the floor. Destiny Wells led the way for Belmont with 16 points. Feel like that's one of those self-explanatory ones for you guys. Cool.
Free throw line. Like Indiana had 19-25, Belmont 3 of 5. That's a game right there.
It seems like that matters. Man, it's a reoccurring theme. Can't stay in front of anybody. You're probably in for a long night. Speaking of someone who's in for a long night, like they were going through it. We're going to talk about Louisville right now. It's a theme of 2 seeds escaping tonight. I'm talking about escaping. All right, things got dark for them for a little while, but they rallied. They rallied big because of their defense. They went down by as many as 18, but they ended up winning 62-53. Olivia Cochran led the way with 13 points, 15 boards. They won the second half 42-21.
I'm gonna even start before that. After they went down when Northwestern blitzed them in the first quarter, and they were down 25-10, to hold down to 7 points in the second quarter, 8 points in the third, and then 13 in the fourth. That was an extremely great job, not just coaching but effort from them, man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Leslie Pulliam, like we said, that's a local product. One of our top players coming out of high school. You know what I mean? One of the top players in all the college basketball. You held her to one of 11 for 4 points in her final college game. That's tough, man. That's a tough way to go out. Northwestern had the win in the first quarter, and Louisville just slowly took it back. I mean, they took the win, and you got to respect that. This was a total defensive effort because the way they locked them down, they didn't score great in the second quarter. They only scored 10 points. But the reason why they won is because they held them down. And then when their offense started getting going, it was a wrap. Northwestern, you could just tell in the second half, they were just shell shocked. They was like, what is going on? Like, nothing's going right. We can't get anything going. Our top players completely off. In a sense, they broke their spirit. You know what I mean? With the way they came back and how they came back. Because I know Northwestern's not used to being held down like that. You know what I mean? So kudos to Louisville, man. They brought it, man. You can't do nothing but respect it, man. Because they was headed for a beatdown of epic proportions. I mean, Northwestern came out blazing hot, man, and they turned that thing around in the second quarter and never looked back. So they walked them down like Dion in his prime, dog. You know what I'm saying? It was just like that. So respect to them.
Yeah, man. When that lead started shrinking, seemed like the clock can't move fast enough. Man, but yeah, I definitely thought it was about to get real ugly. But I mean, Louisville, they are who they are, man, and they were number 2 seed for a reason, and they just kind of settled in. And when you can hold a team down like that, it gives you a chance to to get into a flow offensively. Like if they didn't defend and then eventually their offense caught up, they would have got blown out. But they was able to hold Northwestern in check despite those first few minutes when they got ransacked. But yeah, man, that's tough from Louisville. Like like Adele mentioned, Lindsey Pulliam going out like that. Louisville trying to make sure Dana Evans ain't go out like that. And they got the win. That's a hell of a thing, man. All you gotta do is survive one day.
Yep.
They could start from scratch.
And they did just that. They survived and they advanced. We've been talking about a couple times about this good old selection committee and what they've done with these 2 seeds. That in other years you could argue some of them would have cases for 1 seeds. And this is what's happened. Where, like you said, that's how a team like Northwestern, you get out to a good start, and the 2 seed in a normal year should not be Louisville. But this is where you're at right now, like you guys said. With the job they did defensively, Carter, I think you mentioned it, they took their will. Like Northwestern's used to doing that to other people. Louisville gave Northwestern a dose of their own medicine, and unlike Northwestern, they don't really got a scoring issue once they lock in. So
toughness, that's the most important thing in sports, life. Like, you got this, you straight. I don't care about your talent level. You're going to figure it out, and you're going to be hard to deal with. But you can't let them take the spirit, though. Like, all right, fine. Look, you know what? We can't score. They ain't going to score either. It's just this. We going to just, it's going to be like old school basketball. Like, it's going to be in the 30s or something. It's going to be an ugly score, but we going to win this, y'all. Hey, fuck it. Defensive battle. Let's go. Let's ugly it up. And they ain't had that mentality, man.
All right. Last but not least, onto a team who has no issue playing defense or scoring, in the Hemisphere region, 2 seed Maryland. For some folks who haven't watched them all year, they are as advertised. They're the highest team in the scores, the highest scoring team in the country for a reason. Yes, believe that. They even score more than the team that has Caleb Clark by about 7 points. And they set the tone early against Alabama. Like Cardell said earlier, before we got started, it was 30-9 in the first quarter. 46 points were scored before Maryland's leading scorer got her first basket. Look, their defense and their depth is what was on full display today. You're a D team. It's a luxury item to have Angel Reese coming off your bench. And, I think the first round game, she didn't play until the second half. Today was a little bit different. She got off the bench early in this one, and she made the most of it. She literally made the most of it. She led the team in scoring with 19 points and 5 rebounds. A person I want to shout out, someone who, when people talk about like the super sophomores on their team, we always talk about Ashley, always talk about Diamond, and for good reason. They've really taken a jump this year. Brenda Freeze called Faith Masonis the unsung hero. Talking with her after the game. She should not be left out from her fellow classmates. That sophomore class, they've all taken a jump this year. And one of the things with Faith is she came in, we saw initially just she can literally do almost anything on a basketball court. She's versatile. And this year, it fits right in. Some of her talents are shown off. And she can play with anybody, any lineup, comfortable. And she's found her role. We talked about that with her at the very beginning of the year. Just want to be consistent. And she had a career high of 16 today. Jasmine Walker led the Crimson Tide with 23 points. Brenda Freeze called her a pro following the win.
Just talent, man. Sometimes it's just talent, man. We're gonna just call it like it is. They were more talented than Alabama. You could tell when the game started, the zone they was playing, they was really trying to they was focusing on Ashley. They was trying to make her uncomfortable, make her a shooter. They felt they could disrupt Maryland with her not controlling the game and being a playmaker or whatnot. And that didn't end well because I think they forgot that they got other people that are capable of hitting shots and making plays themselves. It's just that they don't need to do it when you have Ashley out there. Just like she don't need to get 30. You have other scorers out there. It's just everybody playing that role. You know what I mean? And then that's what happened. So, all right, fine. I came on the traditional style. I'm gonna switch to southpaw, and that's what they did. And they just blew them out. I mean, the 30-9. I mean, and then they was turning them over. they turned Alabama over a lot in the first quarter. They got off and running. They got in the rhythm, and then it was on after that. It was nothing. It was just a tidal wave. You try to make them a shooting team. Maryland, okay, we're gonna hit a few threes to loosen that up, and that's exactly what happened. Once they hit some threes, there was nothing they could do. Just a balanced attack, man. Benson, 3 for 5, 2 for 3 from deep. Mimi Collins, 13 points, 6 assists. 6 rebounds. She would have easily had a double-double. Had Brenda let her play. Once the game got out of hand, I understand she took certain players out. There's no need to risk injury. Everybody was efficient. Everybody did what they had to do. I'm happy to see Angel Reese kind of have a big game. get her. You can see she's getting her rhythm back slowly but surely. You know what I mean? Because they gonna need her as they keep going and face these more and more heavyweights and stuff to try to get this national championship. They're gonna need her to be Angel. They're gonna need her bad. So I'm happy to see her performance or whatnot. Like you said, Faith, she's key. She's very key. You know what I mean, she could do what she do. That changes the complexion of this entire team because now you got like 7 players that you have to account for. That's hard, man. It's hard. It's hard to deal with one Ashley or Diamond or Mimi. It's hard to deal with Angel. It's hard. So if we got to guard 7, you got to be a special team to do that. And there's only a handful of teams that are capable of doing that left in the tournament. So it was business as usual for Maryland, and that's why they keep marching on, man. Total team effort.
Yeah, ain't really too much to add. Just a lot of teams aren't showing that production from the top to the bottom of their roster like Maryland is, and I think that's definitely going to be something to contend with as they move on. You said Alabama kind of switched things up to try to take Ashley out the game or contain her. That obviously didn't work. We've seen other teams keying in on the main player, and that's totally like threw off some teams that we're seeing with Wright State early. I mean, I know that was they was kind of at a disadvantage to begin with, but they bottled up. Missouri State bottled up Angel Baker. Wright State couldn't do anything. Louisville, same thing. They locked up Lindsey Pulliam, and that was a wrap. So yeah, man, that's good luck trying to figure out that that Rubik's Cube in Maryland. Because yeah, man, they can just attack you so many different ways, and it's just gonna be tough to match up with them.
Yeah, and one of the other things Brenda said, someone asked her, like, what do you think about opposing teams when they try to scout you? And she just chuckled and was like, I imagine it's a hard scout.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah. I mean, that's what I'm
it's like,
saying.
it's not my fault.
Let's be real. They have potentially right now, and other players can develop into it. You could say they have literally 5 WNBA prospects on their team right now. Literally. Mimi's a prospect, Diamond, Owusu, Bibby, and Reese. Those are where the WNBA, you can see them playing in the WNBA. You know what I'm saying? 3 of them for sure. They going. And all they got to do is stay healthy. They good. And they're going to go high. So it's hard preparing for that talent when if you look on Alabama, you might have 1. That's what it is. So like I say, it's only a handful of teams that can match up woman for woman with Maryland. And the South Carolinas of the world, the UConns. Iowa gave them fits. You know what I'm saying? They can be tough. Plus, they familiar with them. You know what I'm saying? So it ain't a surprise. Just like, oh, you again. Okay, let's deal with it. Let's do this. You know what I'm saying? It's a few teams out there. NC State, maybe. You know what I mean? You saw what Georgia did. They got some dogs over there. They got some killers over there. So it's only a handful of teams. So, I mean, it's getting there. You know how it is, man. To win the championship, I don't care if it's at the pro level, college level, you're going to get tested. And we're going to see how they respond to the test. It's coming. We just got to see if they respond well to it, then we know they definitely going to get that chip. So we got to see.
And before we get off Maryland, and I know Cardell has a topic he wants to bring up. Cardell and I, like, obviously Cardell, Ray, myself, talk all the time outside of just when we talk to you guys when the red light's on and we're filming or broadcasting, etc. I want to say it's a couple weeks ago, a couple games ago, whatever. Talked about Ashley Owusu and like a pro comp. Cardell mentioned you tell me if I'm wrong, verbatim, going from my memory, my memory's spotty. Was saying that Chelsea Gray, but a more athletic version, and possibly a better shooter. And I was laughing today watching the game. It was Tamika Catching was on the call with another gentleman. I'm so sorry, don't remember your name. Catch was talking. That's all I heard. No disrespect intended. But Tamika was saying she was talking with Mirrors. She was trying to think of a comp for Ashley Owusu. And then she was like, she reached out to Marissa Coleman and they were talking about it. Marissa Coleman was just like Chelsea Gray, like easily, just off the top. So I stopped what I was doing, watching the game. I called Cardell like within 20 seconds. I'm like, hey, Tamika Catchings agrees with the same thing. You just told me about a couple weeks ago. So again, just keep that in mind going forward. Why a whole bunch of other people try to wrap their mind on how to describe Ashley Owusu. Seen a lot of people trying to and struggling. Uh, Cardell got to set off on the right path. And it's also, I'm also trust, Marissa Coleman and Tamika Catchings, to solidify that statement of Chelsea Gray. And we all know, we all cover the WNBA. Chelsea Gray is a whole handful to deal with, a whole handful to deal with. And Ashley's a bully, man.
I mean, yeah. I mean, her body type, her all-around skill set. They're both floor generals. How they control the game. People don't understand how it's pivotal for a point guard to control the game. Like, I don't care if a team on a 10-0 run. They're gonna do. We're gonna slow it down. We're gonna slow it down. We're gonna get a good shot. Because if we get a couple good shots, a good couple possessions, we can take that whole momentum back from it. It's little things where this is why a lot of players like you had to have played to really understand everything. Most fans don't really see all that. They just see somebody scoring. They don't understand momentum, time of possession, who need to get the ball, why that person ain't get the ball right there in this position, even though you think they should. It's a lot that point guards have to think about. And Ashley, she's been graduate level since I was covering her in high school. You know what I mean? And on the Boo Williams circuit, the Nike circuit, man. So, like I said, she's special. But with her body type, she already can go down on the block and wear other guards out, man, because they can't do nothing with it. And she's deceptively quick. Like, and her footwork is crazy. So you think because she that big, she can't stop on the down, she ain't shifty and stuff. It's like, no. And then that's when she surprises you. She get to mixing you up. You're like, oh, you anticipating a power, like somebody about to just run through you, something. Nope, nope. I'm fleet of foot. I can dance on you. Blah. You stumbling back like, hold on, wait a minute. What's the look at? Jumping. You know what I'm saying? Or the bigs see their guard in trouble because they can't guard it. She's shaking them up, so they come to double. Here you go, Angel. Here you go, Diamond. You see what I'm saying? And it's just like, dog. So that's why, believe me, Alabama has seen this. So that's why they went out on the zone. Like, we just gonna guard areas. Good luck. Because if you have to look at a potential weakness in her game, you can like make her a shooter. You know what I'm saying? You're not gonna let her play make and get to the basket and post up and all that. We're gonna make you a shooter. Because right now that might be the worst part of your game, and that's not even bad. And she was still patient. Like you said, she didn't even attempt a shot for a minute because everybody else was eating. So she just waited for her good shot. Like, that's what I mean, man. She's light years ahead of where the average sophomore should be, man. So that's what I'm saying, man. She gonna lead her. There you go, lead her. She's that nice.
And just to add, just sprinkle a little bit on top with literally what you were just saying and provide a couple examples. Like you said, kind of pick their spots on when they get busy. Alabama started third quarter really strong, trying to get back, and they got a little bit of momentum. Ran the quarter timeout, and guess whose number got called? I don't know, 3 times in a row. Settle everything down. Owusu foul line jumper, Owusu baseline jumper, Owusu foul line jumper. Oh, Maryland's off and running again. It's that simple. And like you said, Cardell, one of the things I've seen kind of like throughout the year, and Brenda's did a great job of going to it. When they choose to start posting her, it's like anything time stuff gets a little kind of discombobulated. They'll start posting her because a lot of teams have an issue with it. They don't know how to react properly to it. And like you mentioned, Chloe Bibby's not a regular big. You leave her, that's a good 3-point shooter. So it's like, do you want to leave a shooter to come double down on a block? But the other part is if you leave her with your baby guard down on a block, we know it's 3-point play.
Bro, Brenda has a WNBA lineup.
Yep.
They just don't know it yet. They're young. They're still growing as far as understanding the game. But they have a WNBA lineup.
Yep.
Team's not ready for that. It's no different than it's similar to what you see with the Missing. All these versatile 6'3", 6'4", they can do everything. Then you got guard. You got Taj playing guard. You know what I'm saying? It's just like it's hell. It's hell on the pro level. So college, they're not used to seeing this. So, I mean, think about Mimi Collins. That's 6'2", Bibby 6'2", Diamond 6'3", Wusu 6 feet, Benson. I think she's shorter, like 5'10", Reese 6'3", 6'4". I mean, that's a W. They're bigger than some WNBA teams, man. But they're skilled and they're versatile. You know what I'm saying? So I saw Angel get a steal and she's dribbling up court. And Alabama had 2 or 3 players back. They didn't even know what to do. They didn't even know, like, should I go stop the ball? They was just backpedaling. And and she just went and had an easy layup. They didn't even know what to do with that because they're not used to seeing nothing like that, man. And that's where the WNBA is kind of going. Like that. Think about it. The last few champions had one of those type of players leading the way.
if not a
Stewie,
couple.
Deladon, Beastman.
Well,
You gotta have one of those monsters on your team to have a shot, though. Like it's just real. So she has a WNBA lineup, man. So yeah, a college team can't mess with that. Only in college on the college level, you only teams that can, like I said, that could deal with Maryland. They got to have their own WNBA type flavor and talent on that, and it's only a handful of teams with that. And they ain't seen them yet. They will though. So there's a couple in the bracket.
That's why I can't wait as we go forward. So, get a couple days off. Then the men's and the women's tournaments pick up again this weekend. Got some prime time matchups. But that said, Carter, I know there's conversation you wanted to get to, topic you wanted to get to before we close out tonight. So the floor is yours, sir.
Yeah, I wanted to ask you guys, big discussion of the, Paige and Caitlin, the dominance that they're having as a freshman. Should we've had a couple come out early, like as juniors or something, but like Megan Walker last year came out as a junior, a couple years back, Drew Lloyd. But should on the women's side, should they be allowed to enter the WNBA early, one and done, just like the men?
not right now. I think the league will need to expand before that happens because it's just too tough right now. And as talented as Paige and Caitlin are, I'm not sure 1 year of college is enough to prepare them for that. Or maybe, I don't know, maybe you throw them in the fire and they're talented enough to adjust and survive. But I think the likelihood of that is very low. Like Wilson brings up very often, those training camp wars are real. Like take last year as an example in the bubble with how many people sat out, and these weren't just arbitrary players. Like it was some heavy hitters that didn't play, and there was no drop off whatsoever. Like, so just insert all those people back in, and there's even less opportunity for the people that were able to, to make their way into the league. Like like a Taya Cooper, like she, given the situation, she was on the outs. I mean, who knows what happens if she has a chance to prove herself in training camp? But I mean, if Christy plays, like, where are her minutes? You see what I'm saying? So I just think it's just not enough spots for freshmen to start, dipping their toes in that water just yet. On the flip side, you look at a player like Caitlin and Paige, and you think maybe it's worth it to throw them in there and see how they react. But it's not too many players like that though. And if you open up that floodgate, then people might start trying to, get themselves in that situation, and it just probably wouldn't go in their favor. Kind of just like we see with the men, to be perfectly honest. A lot of people go one and done and we never hear from them again, and that's a wider pool over there. So I don't know, man. And there is no G League for the women. So, and overseas ain't sweet neither. So, I mean, I don't know, man. Looking for the probably in the best interest of the player at this point, just to kind of stick with the program. But yeah, to short answer, no, I don't think that should be a regular thing at this point in time.
Wilson.
I'm probably on the other side with it, just with excuse me, but like I like the men's games feel like the women's kind of come out a little bit more mentally prepared for the pro game than the men's do during their 1 year. I mean, the biggest thing I have an issue with is the physicality. We all know that the physical difference on the women's side and the men's side is immediate and it's drastic. So I think that would be the biggest issue. But at the same time, the only reason I don't have the issue with it, like we were just talking about Ashley or whatnot, some of these young players coming out, like if you're already out here with the league ready IQ and whatnot, and the only thing that it's going to take is the physicality, I'm really not going to be too upset if, again, I might have more incentive, right? If I'm a team and I take you early, you're like your spot, you're getting 2 years. I can't speak for somebody else, but you're getting 2 years. To me, it's like, because like to me, what's the big difference between like I want to use Ezi Megbahor with Seattle as an example. They drafted her, she spent a year overseas, and then she joined Seattle, right? So even if it's something where you can take them, send them away, and come back, like you said, they don't have a G League, or you take them and, hey man, sink or swim. But you probably a little bit more invested because you get them early. You get your hands on them early. So I guess that's why I'm not like my biggest thing would be the physicality, but I think the women's game it prepares them better than the men's going to the men's game from a mental standpoint. So it's just the physical. I feel like the women have to catch up to. So like I'd be fine with it, but like you said, it's like anything else. It's not for everybody to make that type of jump.
Uh, yeah, I feel like they should. It's not about the opportunity should be there. You know, making any pro league early is, well, at any point is tough. You know what I mean? Um, but that's why you get information before you actually just stay in the draft. You know what I mean? The teams will let you know that if you're prepared for it or not. There have been exceptions. Like I said, Jewel Lloyd, she left early. Um, she came in the league right away, averaging 10 points, 3.5 rebounds, nearly 2 assists. She wasn't the most efficient. Her percentages weren't the most efficient, but she obviously proved she can rumble. Right out the gate. You know what I'm saying? Jackie Young was another one a couple years ago, and keep in mind, both of these ladies went to championship caliber teams and earned their spot. You know what I mean? Like you got to be special to make that. It's no different than like a LeBron, a KG, or Kobe coming out of high school. Any high schooler could have declared, but they asked when they got drafted. They were like, take your ass to college. Like it's just like that. So I'm not literally looking for everybody to do that, but if you're ready, go. Because I feel like I'm just the type of person. I don't feel like you should have your options limited to elevate yourself. You know what I'm saying? Period. Especially, looking at it from the men's side. Hell, if we were coming up and a war started, we can get drafted at 18 and go. We would have to go fight in a war. The stakes are a little bit higher in that situation than playing the sport. So I think they will figure it out. Besides, the elite players are used to rumbling with other elite players, so it's not much of a transition as the average high school player. You know what I mean? Where they would need 4 years of college to hopefully be prepared for that, man. You know what I mean? So, I feel like it should be. And honestly, yeah, you're going to have to prove. I mean, eventually, even if you stay 4 years, you're going to have to fight for your spot regardless. You're going to have to fight to belong. Like, I mean, and if them older players in the league, if they can't hold you off, you got to go. Everything can't go your way. No, you got to fight for it. It's a sport. It's competition. So if a younger come in, let's say Paige, I'm leaving UConn after a year. She come in and she serve a bet. She served the bet. It is what it is. The bet she got to solidify her spot. That's just how it goes, man. You know what I mean? And if you can't figure that out, you're not gonna be in the league long. So that means you're not a league player. Like I said, everybody's not gonna just enter the draft, but I feel like it should be an option because I also feel like the transition, the gap is not as wide as the men because honestly, with the women, it's physical, but the athleticism and stuff is not that much out of this world than what they're seeing in college. Whereas the men, you might be seeing a certain level, depending on what conference, what program you at, you might be facing a certain level of athleticism and length. And then you get to the league, all of a sudden, like you could have been dominating. You were big. Now you got to deal with Giannis or something like that. AD, you ain't seen nothing like that in college. It's like, whoa. And you stuck, you shell shocked. Now you got hurt. They send you to the G League. You realize, damn, these dudes, they're similar. They just ain't put it all together yet. So it's kind of like what we saw with the G League in 19. You know what I mean? Talented high school kids, but you could tell they got a lot to learn. It was up and down once guys got film on them, started taking them serious, and they treated them as the primetime game because they're the main team for the G League. And those kids were getting paid more, had more hype than some of those guys that played 4 years of college. So they enjoy serving them. You see what I'm saying? And only Jalen Green was the one that kind of sustained it throughout the whole season until they lost in the playoffs. So you can't be surprised if he gets drafted ahead of some of his peers. Some of them guys on that team that came out of high school, enjoy that 100K, dog, because y'all gonna be back in the G League or something because they weren't ready. They were not ready. So you just gotta be smart in your decision making, man. You know, to go there, you gotta know the WNBA wants you. And I'm pretty sure the WNBA is looking at their high on Paige and Caitlin Clark, those type of players. I know they are. You see what I'm saying? So I'm just saying the option should be there. That don't mean you just blindly jumping at you averaging 2 points. I'm like, I wanted the WNBA. You ain't gonna make it slow. Like it ain't gonna go the way you think. So
they gonna laugh when you send your FaceTime the request, the review. Like,
nah, them women don't play. The women don't play in the WNBA. They don't play. It's ruthless. It's like the 80s and 90s brand of basketball, the physicality and stuff. So, but no, if you elite, you should have that option, man. You know what I'm saying? Get started on your pro career and make that happen, man. Why get away with that? Because at the end of the day, you're playing basketball year round. You're going to develop a lot quicker with this being your occupation than I got to go to class and certain amount of hours I can practice and stuff like that. And on top of that, you'll be making a lot much better money. And like Paige, she's been hyped since high school. So she gonna get endorsement deals and stuff like that because of all that. She's gonna have she can always go back and finish school, man. You know what I'm saying? If she chooses to. I just don't like limitations, man. You know what I'm saying? If you got the talent to do something that not many people can do, go do it. You should have the option to do that. That's my thing.
Yeah, and I think one of the biggest things that I think everybody agrees with is that they do need to expand the league. They need to be more teams because there's too much talent walking around the women's game that aren't on rosters right now. That is a given. But go ahead, Ray. I didn't mean to cut you off.
No, yeah, I was just saying, like Adele was saying, if you one of them type, Paige, Caitlin, Ashley, or one of them type, speaking from the standpoint of the option being there, but not everybody just jumping at that option. Yeah, just make an informed decision, like you said.
You know, I don't think the women are pro hungry as the fellas though. They smarter. They're not gonna just be like, that's us, man. We be like, man, I'm a pro 9th grade. Like you like 5'9", get the hell out of here, man. You know, like that's us on that stuff, man. And I get it. It's significantly more money you trying to get and all that. I mean, let's call it what it is. That's that. But I just feel like the women are smarter in that area. They're not about to jump out there with the wolves and at that level. They see what it is, and they not until they're ready. And even if you stay for a year, sometimes you still ain't ready. So, I mean, it is what it is. But they're not pro hungry like us because for one, they take school more serious. It's call it what it is.
That's true too. Yeah.
They're bright. You know, they use their intelligence a lot more than we do, and that's just facts. And I can speak on that because I'm a college player, but I'm just keeping it a buck. Let's just say. Coach Hall, y'all know my coach and stuff. He spoke on it. We had a lot of dudes ineligible. That wasn't a situation with the females. They was getting 3-5s and stuff. So let's call it what it is, man. But the ineligible dudes was talking pro talk. So I don't know how you gonna go pro if you ain't playing college, but you can't get on the floor. You're ineligible. So
only in America. The other thing with some of the women's programs, the top women's programs, a lot of them, some of them, can't speak for all of them. They have their pros come back. Some of these kids get a real quick idea during the summer or one weekend where, your alma members of your alma mater come home real quick, have a practice, you catch a shoulder, you get a little preview and you go, I need a year.
Let's keep it real. Aisley, she's coming to UConn next year, okay? When the Mystics were on their run to win their first championship, we saw AZ at the game more than some of the reporters, dog. We saw that she was there every game. I don't think she wasn't taking notes. She's preparing. She's seeing what it's like. And she saw a team, her hometown team, go all the way and win the chip. So she knows what it looks like. That's invaluable experience. So when she enrolled at UConn and stuff like that, it's gonna be on another level. You know what I mean? So and don't think she won't test that if she killed her freshman year. She come in and just dominate. Don't think she won't test that rule. I can see it because it's like if she dominate and y'all win, what is left? Especially she had a serious injury in high school. You got to make some tough decisions. So I'm like, that option should be, you feel what I'm saying? The option should be there. I've accomplished what I came here to do. What's left for me?
I think they change it for her. If she made that situation, if she made that situation right, they'd be like, go ahead, man, go ahead.
And rest in peace, obviously, rest in peace. But Kobe daughter, she's on that whole
man.
Kobe had the blueprint already laid out. She's gonna knock the door down to everything. So now it's about to be a wrap. She probably gonna be the first $1 million player in WNBA history. She's gonna come out early, shoe deal. It's gonna be a wrap. And it just delayed it a little bit. But if AZ come and do what she gonna do, they gonna test that. They gonna test all that. Things gonna change. So I just feel like it's coming. That's why I'm asking.
Yeah.
No, I mean, I think
it's an eventuality. Yeah.
I also think it's a great question to pose, right? The last couple of classes we seen folks coming in, freshmen ain't supposed to act like this. And like you mentioned, a couple. I don't have stuff in front of me, but the last couple freshman classes in women's basketball have been coming in like, oh, this is college. Cool. 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 Wow, this is college. No issues. Just enjoying life. Like, you're not supposed to come in like that, man. Like some of these freaking NCAA tournament performances. Yeah. Freshman powered.
Look. I mean, you're right. Paige was number 1. Angel Reese was number 2. Caitlin Clark is 4th. Camila Cardoza at Syracuse. Diamond Johnson at Rutgers. Like, this is from this freshman class I'm talking about. You talking about from 2019? It's like, that's what I'm saying. Like, some of these girls are and it's not the majority of them. Some of them look like freshmen. Let's call it what it is. But who you talking about? Aaliyah Edwards, right?
Yeah.
Thank you. You feel what I'm saying? Like, she looks good. Transition smooth as hell. Guess what she was? 23rd.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So it's always gonna be exceptions to rule. I'm just feeling like, they should have that. They gotta have that option, man, because you limiting them. You know what I'm saying?
And I think what's it called? We've been talking the last couple of years how the game is growing and evolving. Yeah, it's about time for that conversation because it's happening quick, man.
And also, I think the women are better. The men just got too much ego. All right, the women are better at embracing the young players and helping them grow from high school on up. Like, giving them game. Don't get it twisted. They're like, I'm gonna help you. Now, if you get between these lines with me, I'm gonna bust your ass. But I'm gonna help you. So when I'm done, I want to see the game go further.
Yep.
It used to kind of be like that with the men now. These young boys, they too full of them. They always hate, man. I'm like, man, chill that noise. It ain't hard like that. You know what I'm saying? But for the most part, you know what I'm saying. But I did see Jimmy Butler with RJ Bird. He's like, yo, push your body in me and you to score. You know what I'm saying? So you can score on that little cut and whatnot. And RJ Barrett, don't get me wrong, it's still certain guys that's receptive, but overall, nah, it ain't like that. So that's all I'm saying, man. They should just have the opportunity. They just gotta be smart in their decision, like, and I feel they will be. It won't be reckless like the dudes, like, y'all a pro, you declaring for the draft. It's like, bro, you couldn't. You were like the 10th man on your team, man. Like, why are you doing this?
And I think the biggest part of it, making sure it's an informed decision, is the league can't afford to set themselves up for failure too about who they accept either. You know what I'm saying? They're not exactly like you're 25 years in, but you're not at the place you want to be at where you can afford to have a miss here and there if you do open it up. You gotta make sure, like, if it is, you got hit on it.
But that's what I'm saying. They give them the information. The league is blunt. Like, the NCAA a couple years ago changed the rule. You can enter the draft and come back to school. They're blunt. Like, you're not good. You need to get better at these areas. Go back to school. Now, some idiots, I don't care what you say. I'm going to prove you wrong. Okay. Then they don't get drafted, and they mad at the world, telling about politics, and they bringing up stuff like, I gave the dude who was drafted 28th, I gave him 30 in the summer league game. My man wasn't even playing hard, dog. He ain't trying to get hurt. He ain't tripping. You see what I'm saying? So that's just what it is. But they will give the ladies feedback. And then think about it. If you at UConn, you declare early, I'm pretty sure Gino will give you the raw cut you like, you're not ready. Come back.
Man, I don't even know if you got to be bold to bring that up to him.
That's my point. You gotta be bold to bring that up to Brenda. You can't just step in there half step. Like, no disrespect. Zoe on Maryland, she can't just go. Brenda, I'm thinking about declaring for the draft. Girl, stop playing with me if I make your ass run. She gonna say that. Stop playing with me.
Yeah. But yeah, it's definitely something to keep an eye on going forward with some of these youngies is coming out ready to go. So we shouldn't be shocked if we see that in the future. I want to thank y'all for hanging with us tonight. So for Raymond, Cardell, myself, we get a night off from Within the Madness, a couple nights off. Be back this weekend because the madness continues. You got folks going to be on the men's side trying to find their way to the Final Four. To the women's side, by the time we're done with the weekend, we should know who's in the national championship. We'll have an idea. Like this weekend's will be brutal for the women's side. Like Saturday, Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We'll know exactly what's happening by the time we come out this weekend on both sides. Looking forward to it. And you guys have a great evening.